Welcome back to the Workbench Apprentice. Today's quick project is to mount a tile into a piece of wood to make a trivet. This is a thing that you can put your hot pots on instead of putting them directly onto the bench. So yeah, let's show you what we've got. So here we go, we've got a nice piece of rimu here. So we'll do that, and we have our tile, which we will mount in here somehow. Once the wood's all sorted, that should look very nice indeed. Okay, so first things first, let's check to make sure that the wood is square, which it is. That's square there. So it should be square this way as well, which it is. And we want to have that come in probably about 1 inch or 25mm each way. So if we just mark down there. So that's the one side. That would be there. Just need to extend that line along a bit. So that would have our tile sitting around about there. Great. So I'm going to draw our circumference. Oops, it's not quite right, is it? Here we go. So this is the bit that we're going to take out. Okay. So what do we need to do? We need to come up with some way to take out the center of this and along those edges. So to do that, I'm going to be using some other pieces of wood to make a frame, and we'll use the router to take out as much as we need. So how are we going to do this? Well, good old double-sided tape. So I'm going to put some tape down here. And I don't want it to move, so I'm going to put another piece down there. Right, let's start with the top one. Right, so now we can line up the edge like so. Yep, that's perfect. And this one, we can line that up. Like so. And this one I've left covered because I need to cut this one to size. So that needs to be cut down there. Okay, let's just check for fit. And we need to take just a whisker off. You can see haven't quite got to the line. Alright, how did we do? Pretty much a perfect fit. What I am going to do is just check to see that that tile will fit. Yep. Okay, and then we line that all up. So there we go, that's our frame. Now I just need to get out the router. So the way to make sure you get the exact right depth is to use the thing that you're going to put in there, and what I'll do is I'll put the router on top of the tile and spaces and push it down, and that should set my depth. And so with the router bearing, you can't quite see it, but the router bearing is just coming through the plastic there, so that's going to run along the edge of our pieces. So that's the next stage, and now we'll start routing out. So hopefully here you can see that the bearing is running along the top edge here, and it's forming a line straight down. One thing that is happening is that the router bit is sinking a little, so I'm going to have to, I think I'll use the depth gauge and just try and stop that from going any further. But we want it to be all uniform, same depth all over this area in here. Okay, so there we go. Routed out, cleaned out the corners. Does this fit? Oh, look at that. It is a little bit too tight, which is great, because this is the side that that moved. So what I want to do is using the tile, so that's in there, that's in there. Now I've used a knife just to make a wee score mark down the side. and you can feel the tip of the chisel go into that score mark made with the knife. I think I need much sharper chisels for this. So we are so close to getting this thing in now. So it's just a case of trial and error and keep trying. Well, sure. Okay, so it's quite a tight fit. I don't know that I want it to be quite that tight. It's not too bad. I think just a bit more work in that corner. It's a little better. Right, well, a bit happy with that. What I'll need to do now is sand this so it's all nice and tidy. Then measure the border so that it matches all the way around, and then cut that on the saw. Right, I'm just going to try and sand the back of this thing. I'm going to do it by hand because I have people sleeping in the house, so just want to make sure that it's still flat. Which it seems to be. Nice. Right, so I'm going to keep going through 120, 240, maybe even 400. We'll see how we go. And we come back when it's done. So there we go. That is 400 grit. That is super smooth. So what I want to do now is measure where we're going to chop it off. So it's 25 mil, which is there. Just check, make sure that is mil. Is there. So with our square, Okay. And the bottom, of course, is not quite right either. So we need to chop this piece off. So we will do that on the saw. Right, so I've lined it up. So I'm just going to cut down there, and I'm going to go for sort out the next cut then. Right, started day 2. I need to just sand these marks out of the end grain here. So I will do that. Great, happy with that. What have we got on this side? Okay, so we've done our rounding over. Now we just need to get in there with some fine sandpaper, in this case 240 grit, and see if we can just clean it all up a bit. Right, and we'll keep going on that around the rest of the edges. So here we go, I'm just finishing off doing the edges with some 800 grit paper. I raised the grain and dried it off. That is so silky smooth now, it's great. Right, so now I've just got the 2 faces to do. You can really feel the difference between the raised grain and the sanded. Right, well, I think that's sanded. Next thing to do is to put the finish on it, and the finish I'm going to use is going to be the True Oil, same that I used for the coasters in the previous video. So I'm going to get set up for adding that and come back when we're ready. Right, so I'm pretty much all set up. Oh. Got my wee ball of applicator cloth there. So first job is to turn it over, and we'll do the front and the sides, and then we'll flip it over and do the back. Right. And you apply the stuff with the grain normally. You can see, hopefully on the camera, how quickly it seems to dry. And that's the wood soaking in the oil. So I'm going to put a bit more on there. Right, I think we just need to leave that for a few hours for it to dry, and then we can put on another coat. Okay, it's been a few hours, and well, about 3 hours. So I'm just going to lightly scuff this and then put the second coat on. So just the same as before, I will just use the little right, and again, I'll be back in a couple of hours to put the next coat on. Okay, it's the next day and there's 3 coats on this wood, which I'm quite happy with, so I shall look at putting the tile in. It's the best way around for this. It's quite tight. Goes that way around. It's a bit too tight for my liking. So I think I shall just sand the inside edge just a little bit. Try and just tidy that up. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take some double-sided tape here, put it on the end of this piece of wood. And then put some fine, stick some fine sandpaper on there. That will do. Something like that. that should allow us to just gently sand like that. There we go. So in order to secure that in, I'm going to use some silicone RTV. That should help it in. It'll also hopefully squeeze out around the edges and just provide a waterproof seal around the edge. And the silicone can also handle some high temperatures, so that will be good too. Oh, look at that, that's much easier to get out. I'm just going to push this around the edge. I can tell that it is well sealed. Create somewhere for the air to come out. What I do want to make sure that it is level. So it's a bit high there. So as it stands now, that tile is just slightly above the wood. So what I'm checking is to make sure that the tile is above, slightly above the wood, and that it's even on both sides. Which that is. And if you turn it around that way, you can check the same again, and that'll tell you whether it's square, flat. So that's great. Right, I'm just going to get a rag and clean it up. So there we go. We'll just, once that silicon's dried, it'll be all good. So that is our project done. If you like these projects, then do subscribe, and yeah, you can follow me for the next project. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this project. So we'll see you next time on the Workbench Apprentice.